Son d'un papel!
Oh, my wiener.
Guys, what's up and welcome to the re-envision segment of Ask Akasan. I was going to call it like Mulling Monday, but something about which mull means to dwell upon or think about or discuss, so to speak. But I don't know, something about the word mole sounded really weird, and I don't know, it's just not something I wanted you guys to start your Mondays off with. So instead, let's just continue calling it Ask Akasan. It's all good. We're still gonna mole, so to speak, but we're gonna make this very simple. Every other Monday, I'm going to go ahead and just answer just one question or one basic question, which we'll probably get into some other things after that. And then I'm just going to keep them in a category just like I do the Weekly Wednesday What's Up and just like I do Akasan's Honest Reactions. That way, I figured this would be the easiest way you guys can check and see if someone has already asked the question beforehand, because it would be in the subject matter, okay? You with me? Alright, sounds good. So let's begin. I'm going to try and add some music or something to this. I have one of my friends I exclusively listen to his tracks. I might have that going on in the background. I need to see if that's going to be okay or not. If not, somebody recommended something from Newgrounds, okay? It's a little bit windy here as well, so my apologies about that. It's like some sort of storm going on behind me, but it's alright because the cold doesn't bother me anyways. Alright, so this question comes, let me pull it up here. This question comes from Florian Gazza. Oh my god, I am so sorry I'm mispronouncing your name, but Florian Gazowska, maybe Gazowska, Florian Gazowska, something like that. And I thought this was a really good question. This was actually what inspired me to restart the Ask Akasan segments here, because I haven't been doing it almost for a year, and I apologize about that. But there's so many J vloggers and people living in Japan that are answering the same sort of questions that I just didn't want to be the same, you know? As you can see, the same is lame. Alright, so I thought this question would be pretty good, and then I'll get into some of the more basic ones every other Monday and such. But basically, this was a question. He found me, he or she found me through my Facebook for some bizarre reason, but I thought this question was really good, and I was just talking with him for a bit, and the question I speak of here is how the spark of going to Japan came for me, okay? And the most important thing is, did you regret it anyhow? And, you know, I thought that was actually a really interesting question, because and nobody's ever actually asked me that type of question before about regret, okay? But the spark of going to Japan, it was always there. I might have mentioned this before in the past, but my best friend, Japanese American, and I always grew up with one foot in Japan. Even when I was living in Los Angeles, most of my friends, maybe half of my friends, were Japanese. The others were black, Hispanic. I had a mix of so many friends, and so, you know, we were just always a group. And when I grew up, when I got later in life, I would be helping my friend at this Japanese American Cultural Center. So, I mean, the whole Japanese, the J culture was within me, always going to J-Town, as we called it, Little Tokyo, or Sawtown, Olympic, and, you know, it was always there. So it was almost, was almost natural progression, so to speak, that I wanted to, some point in my life, try living in Japan. And at that time, I wanted to finish my college. As at that time I was taking college at West Los Angeles. Really great school, actually. I really liked all the teachers there, and it was very nice college. Better than SMC, in my opinion. But I wanted to finish up my going to university, so that's when I transferred over to Tokyo. And that's what I thought was even more interesting about this question: do I regret? Now, you know, I don't know, I might be reading into something more or less with the question, but you know, do I regret it anyhow? Do I regret the spark? No, I don't regret the spark so much as I regret some of the decisions that I've made in the past. If I were to go back from the point where I decided to make this big move long ago, if I were to go back, maybe quite honestly, I'd probably tell myself not to come to Japan. And I'm being very honest about this, because the way I came here, I can't recommend to anybody. And the things I had to go through to stay here, I wouldn't want to put that on anybody. And these are things I'm going to be paying for the rest of my life. Literally, quite emotionally and financially paying for. So, you know, I don't regret the spark, but I also wish at that time someone could have told me how financially impacting it was going to be to make this jump, because I was so strong-minded at that time that especially with the shitty university that I went to and how much I was paying, and you know, you hear about it all the time about with student loans and the paying things to back. And you know, I thought I was being smart about it. I thought that I was doing the right thing and making all the research. And I talked to my mom about you know, is this normal to be borrowing so much money for each term? And you know, I thought I was doing everything right, and come to find out the difference between the university I went to and the university, I really put quotes on that, the university, their version of the university in Tokyo, didn't have the same financial aid support. And I kind of found this out in the 11th hour, which was very frustrating. Had I known that very early on, you know, at the time financial aid, it was going to be like, it was going to cover like 96% of the tuition and such. And then moving on, when I later to come to find out that that 96% wasn't going to be covered while in Tokyo, it put a damper on a lot of things. And that first year coming to Japan, coming to Tokyo, was very hard. A lot of things actually happened that time. The earthquake happened that time. The blackouts. My first time really getting a feel for like what it's like for finals week, and my first time writing essays outside of a community college. You know, this more university level and such. And it was, you know, this is a story for another day, but getting back to so I really, this point I sort of regret the way I came out here. And like I said, I'm still paying for it. We're talking about like, we're saying like $70K in debt or something like that for like 1 year of school. This is my biggest regret about that whole ambition, because I figured that at this time there's been a lot of times that I've gone straight into something, and I'd be like, I'll figure out the details later. But no, we just need to. All you need is aggression. All you need is the passion to do it. But this passion and this spark is something now I have to pay for the rest of my life, and maybe until my children become adults. Yeah, this issue bothers me a lot, but it also inspires me at the same time. And, because at this moment in time, I feel stuck. I feel stuck in Japan. I feel like I actually, even if I wanted to go back home, which I do sometimes, even one of the reasons I feel like I can't go back home is because my credit is so bad at this point. It was bad when I left. This was another thing, being young and not knowing the value of a credit card, and not being able to budget your money correctly while you're young. It was already kind of messed up to begin with. So now it's even, I can't even imagine what it's like now, to go back to try to restart in America with a terrible credit, try to get an apartment, try to get a car, things like that. So this hurts a lot sometimes, because I feel like even if if there was an opportunity to come back, it would have to be so financially benefiting that it would almost completely wipe away my debt in like 1 to 3 to 5 years or so, and I'd still be able to live happily, so to speak. So this is very sad. I regret this a lot. The other thing is, do I regret if, sometimes I think that if I had never gotten on that plane, there are things that I've learned out here, and I can certainly say that I've become a changed person after I moved out of Tokyo. For other things I regret, and I kind of just lived in the country for like 2 years, deep country. As much as I didn't like being in the quiet and this just forest and bugs and like goddamn Jumanji on my window screen sometimes, I certainly can say that I came out of that situation a better person and much wiser now. I was having a conversation with my brother today, actually, and we were just talking about how he remembers a time like I was always very angry and just angry all the time, and like very frustrated with where I'm at. But he just feels like now, when talking to me, I feel a little more at peace, and I agree with him. I don't get as angry, or I don't get angry the same way as I used to. Like at those times, I would leave holes in the walls, and being so frustrated with my surroundings. Another reason that spark was so strong to just get out of Los Angeles, the lethargicness of it all. But I get mad still now. I get frustrated sometimes dealing with some of these fucking gaijin, other foreigners that are living out here and so cynical with their ways and so depressed all the time and always blaming Japan about this because something. I get angry about these sort of things. I get angry that my movies are delayed coming to Japan and such. But I actually get angry for the reverse things now. I get angry because other people are so cynical now in life. So whereas living in Japan has taught me to, and being around Japanese people has taught me to see the positive things a lot easier now, and see that there are different ways, and always think about other people first. So, and I didn't get that in Tokyo. That's for sure. Tokyo's it's whole nother beast. It's not Japan. For people that have never been to Japan, people think Tokyo is what Japan is all about. But it's not. It's its own sort of culture. Okay. So yeah. So the main point is where there are things where I feel where there are regret, but I use that regret as a weapon, as a remembrance, as a memory to keep reminding me not to make those same mistakes again. I use that regret. You know, I regret leaving Tokyo. And one of the reasons was, it wasn't, you know, I used to think it was because of the earthquake or the radiation. And that, while that had a huge part in it, I stayed throughout the bulk of the earthquakes and the radiation scares and the blackouts. I stayed throughout most of that, but it had a lot more to do with my school experience, and my biggest regret is just being very young and dumb and falling in love with the wrong type of people and not recognizing that some of that stuff I really wish I had learned a lot more while I was in Los Angeles, so that when that kind of stuff happened I could recognize it a lot easier and not have been so stupidly brokenhearted and devastated. But it just happened to be all at the same time. That, the earthquake, my tour business that I was doing because of the earthquake, everything just, it was so hard to continue, that it was a very dark place, a completely dark place that I wouldn't be wise for me to mention some of those things that transpired at that time on YouTube. But you know, the main thing I can tell you is that I guess I don't know, maybe I don't regret leaving Tokyo. I mean, I today, even in my video you saw today, I always feel the need to come back. I feel like I'm doing like a reverse LeBron James right now. Or if you guys are the fan of the show Arrow, you know, disappear for a while, but now, you know, I feel reborn, so to speak. You know, and people always ask me why did I come to Japan, things like that, and I always tell them that I was in search of a rare blue flower and such. Batman Begins, right? So I don't know if I have. I don't know if I found my Ra's al Ghul yet. I don't know if I found a mentor. I don't think I have. But I feel that I have at least enough maturity and weapons and skill now, and a lot more confidence and such, that I can face more of the high pressures of Tokyo this time around. I prefer still to be living in Osaka, but I still think the opportunity is better in Tokyo, and that's why, even though I don't really like living in Tokyo because it's so busy, it's expensive, and the people are very, like, not shy, not like Fukuoka shy, but they're very just like, they're like, get the fuck out of my way, very New York style, okay? And I'm from LA, so Osaka has always been the best place for me to live because everybody's just fucking funny. But if we're going to if we're going to be something, if we're going to, just like New York, if you can survive there, you can survive anywhere. It's like you got to go to the epicenters if you're going to really try to build. So, you know, there's certain things about that coming here that I regret. As you guys already know, the movie situation. I regret not being able to see my grandfather one more time before he passed. I regret the way that he left this earth, and our relationship is he never wanted me to come here to Japan, and I mean, he was old, he was set in his ways and such, and this part I understand, but he was also, you know, he died, or he always felt that I was ashamed to be black, which is a good part of my heritage, and you know, most of my family members most of my family, the family members I know of, are black. So you know, that was rough. The fact that we never got to make amends about that, and I couldn't show him what type of success I could be before he passed. And my fear at this point now is that there's going to be even more people leaving this earth before they have a chance to see how successful I really can become. You know, doing what I do now is something. People always say I'm so lucky, or you know, I'm so talented, or whatever, and that it's this part is true. But I'm angry still because there's still so much more that I feel I can do, and at this point, that's all I care about right now, and it sucks because I really want to take the time to live in Fukuoka and enjoy what's around me, and I always try to take with my videos. I always try to make sure I don't pass up on these opportunities, and but you know, I know what I drive for. I know what drives me. I know what spark about Japan I love. You know, I know the drive. You know, I wish I could be waking up. I wish I could be waking up next to the big cyber dancers, bikinis, the cyber dancer Japan girls. You know, with Natsumi on one side, Kaze on the other. You know, I wish I could be in a relationship with someone more along those lines of what drives me, that spark. I regret the fact that I didn't have the money and the funds to keep my relationship going with Miss Nikki Green. Check out that video from way on back. You know, as what's the word I'm looking for? As superficial as that may sound, sometimes that's just the reality of the world. If you want that type of girl, if you want a really, you know, if you want a dime piece, you got to be able to be. Love isn't going to be enough. Sometimes you got to be able to be on that same level as that dime piece. So, and then hopefully there's love there. You know, I don't blame hot women for their investing. You know, and it sometimes bothers me when people that, you know, always want to say, well, that's not true love or whatever. But I'm like, well, you know, you just if you have that talent or whatever, you got to make sure you sell to the highest bidder, so to speak. So and then, you know, hopefully, and then well, obviously there's got to be a connection as well. You know, why do actors and actresses, generally speaking, marry each other all the time? Because that's kind of their common world. You know, they know each other well enough in that entertainment industry. Why, you know, you don't often see too many artists and singers marry commoners, so to speak, because you can never be on that same level. And living in Fukuoka, I get that all the time. I mean, I got it in Tokyo as well, but especially out here, it's like just trying to have a conversation with anybody about anything other than my goddamn hair is very, very rare. So those are my regrets, but they're also my reminders, my constant reminders not to repeat and to keep driving, to keep going. So, okay, I think that's about it, guys. I talked too long, 23 minutes, I think that's enough. So, sorry to make it so much of a down topic and such, but I thought it was also an informative topic as well. So, the next in 2 weeks from now, maybe I'll find another question. So that reminds you, if you have a question that you want me to answer, just go ahead and reply below, leave a comment, and I'll try and I'll pick one of them. I'm just gonna pick one of them to answer in I guess 2 weeks or so. Okay. If you have any questions about what I just said, feel free to comment below, like, share, subscribe. You know the deal. I hope you like the return of Ask Akasan, and I don't really have an end tagline this time. Just I'll see you in about 2 weeks and ask me anything. Now I'm gonna go look at some hot, sexy Japanese women to get that spark again. Oh, cyber girls. Oh, cyber dancers.